again everyone, Scott Pye, Popcorn Fan here, and in this video, I would like to announce that I got the chance to see the brand new Black Widow movie last night, and I was lucky enough to see that movie with my family last night, with my mom and my uncle, in theaters. And before I do, I would like to mention that this movie is also available on Disney Plus, but with the premiere access, you'd have to pay like $30 just to watch the movie on Disney Plus. So I mean, if you guys have the money, great. So that way you can watch it on Disney Plus with the premium access. But it's like $30. It's expensive as hell. That's why I just decided to see the movie in theaters instead, because it's cheaper in my eyes. At least to me it is. So yeah, the new Black Widow movie. First off, like, for those of you who are big fans of Captain America the Winter Soldier and consider that film one of the best MCU films, I do think that this is definitely for you, because this goes for that more spy espionage kind of action flick. And ironically enough, there's a scene earlier in the film where Natasha is watching an older James Bond movie. So that's kind of funny to see that in this movie. We actually see like actual film footage from an older James Bond movie in this movie. So yeah, if you were someone who was like a big fan of the Mission Impossible movies, the Daniel Craig James Bond movies, you know, if you're a fan of that genre, this is definitely the MCU movie for you, because it's very much a spy action flick. And right off the bat, this does have a bit of a too little too late. That's one criticism that I do have with the Black Widow movie, is that it took so long for the Black Widow character to finally get her own film. And I do think that this is a good enough movie on its own. It's just, you know, it took so long. Like, for the longest time, I didn't really care about the Black Widow character all that much throughout the many years that she's already been around. Like, I think, like, around Captain America Winter Soldier, like when that movie came out, that was when I started to really care about the Black Widow character, Natasha. But like, even then, like, I still had my issues with the character, and I just didn't really gravitate towards that character all that much throughout all the films. So I just think that this movie is just too little too late, in my opinion. But judging the movie based on its own merits, I do think it does a decent enough job of making us care a lot more about the character. But another issue is that it's a prequel that takes place after Captain America Civil War, but before Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So it's a prequel story, and because you know where Natasha's character goes once the movie's over, you know, because you've seen Infinity War and Endgame, her character dies at the end of Endgame, there's just that other little bit of expectation going into it that kind of hampers the arc or that Natasha has throughout the film just a little bit. That's one other issue that I have with the film. Now, I do think that this is a really good movie, though, and I do think that it has a lot of really good action eye candy that is definitely satisfying, especially with Red Guardian and Taskmaster, and with Yelena, the actress playing Yelena, Florence Pugh. This is definitely a movie that focuses a lot on her, and she's a scene stealer, and I thought she was great in the role. I think I kind of liked her character a little bit more than Natasha a little bit in this movie, because she just had a little bit more of a charismatic performance with her character than Natasha did. But other than that, though, like, I guess like another issue I have with the movie is the villain, because the villain, like the main villain of the movie, he's not fleshed out enough. I do go into the backstory of the villain a little bit. I'm not talking about the same villain that's marketed in all the trailers, because there's like two villains in the movie, and like the main villain of the movie, he just wasn't fleshed out enough for me. So that's another issue that I have with the film. Just like the main villain of the movie. I'm not talking about Taskmaster. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the main villain, who just, I don't want to spoil it, but his character just wasn't really fleshed out enough. I didn't really care about his character all that much. So that's another issue that I do have with the film. But easily another actor in the movie who is a scene stealer was David Harbour as Alexei, aka the Red Guardian. He was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed his character, and the witty banter that he had with Natasha and Yelena, and just that whole family dynamic that he was trying to have in his mind, even though the Natasha and Yelena didn't really care all that much about what he was thinking about in his head, because of how humorous he was being in his character. And I just really enjoyed that. And just overall, I just think that this movie did a decent enough job with the story that it was trying to tell. And I also really liked how we just got to see more of Natasha's backstory and her history with how she was raised, and that's very compelling. I did care about Natasha at the end of the film. I feel like this movie does do a good job of making me care about the character a lot more than I ever did. So there is that, and it's just that this movie just was too little too late, and the main villain of the film, and just overall, I just feel like this movie could have been better, but at the same time, it did a decent enough job with the story that it was trying to tell. And also, the movie did have a post-credit scene, but I'm not going to spoil that. But I will say that this movie does set up Yelena as the new Black Widow going forward in later projects down the road. So yeah, that should do it for this review. I'd probably give this movie like a B. That would be my grade for this movie. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and my next review will be for the Fear Street Part 2, 1978. So look forward to my review for that movie. And yeah, I know I seemed like it was a little bit critical about this movie. It's just some of the flaws, like I said, I just didn't really... I was happy with the film. I was satisfied, and I liked it a lot, but it just, some of the flaws with the movie just kind of outweighed the positives a little bit for me with this one. So it's a good film, though, for those of you who love action spy films, and for those of you that consider Winter Soldier one of the best films. This will definitely be a movie that a lot of people will like. It's just, for me, it's not my favorite of the newer films, but it was still a good film nonetheless. So it's a B in my eyes for the grade. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.